Thank you. Appreciate it, and appreciate everybody gathering here today. We're super happy to sponsor this, and I'm just glad to be a part of the conversation. Certainly, I've talked to several of you over the last year that eSpace has actually been in existence. But let me just give you a quick background, because I think it'll help you understand why we're doing what we're doing and why we're here. So my boss, Greg Weiler, who has been involved in the satellite space for quite some time, among other fields, fiber, 5G, or 4G, I guess at the time. 20 years ago, he went to Rwanda. He just happened to go down there with a friend. It was post-genocide. He decided, hey, this place doesn't look in great shape. We're going to try to figure out how to help. So he basically started writing checks. He got fiber laid into the ground. He had hundreds, maybe thousands of people working with him in Rwanda, literally going through mountains, through jungles, trying to get connectivity to folks. Well, he came quickly to understand that at some point you need to get that out of Rwanda. You need to get that communications to a place where they're going to be able to connect to various people around the world, hence satellite. So he took a whole bunch of geo components, figured out how to put them into a MEO satellite system, trying to get it less expensive, more, closer to the ground, less latency, but basically just trying to get the service out to all the people that he needed to get it out to and into countries. So he created a company called O3B, which was going to connect the other 3 billion people in the world that weren't connected to the internet. Now, I guess good news is 300 million people since then have been connected. Bad news is 2.7 billion are not. So we have to figure out how to solve these issues. He decided he was going to move on from there. He was going to try to do it better. And Chris Casarubias is a representative of the company that he started afterward. How is he going to get those solutions out to consumers? He was going to try to figure out how to do it less expensively, more efficiently. How can we get the supply chain working quicker? How can we get the manufacturing down to a pace where we could deploy quicker, right? So it's accessibility, it's deployment. So he created OneWeb, which is doing fabulously well, and we're super proud of it. So broadband is obviously critical to all of our needs. We found that out during the pandemic. It is, the fabric of everything that we're doing right now. We need it. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about something different, and the Honorable Minister for Trinidad and Tobago actually mentioned this a little bit in the Q&A session, but we are now focused on connecting things, people, things, and making sure that we are actually addressing this next digital revolution, which is the IoT space. And it's sort of this amorphous thing that people don't really think about. But if you think about satellites more generally, I don't think everybody quite understands what satellites are doing. There was a great video that was presented by a professor out of the University of Texas at Austin saying, well, what if we didn't have satellites? Where would we be? Well, you want to get fuel in your car? There's a VSAT terminal on top of the gas station in virtually every country at every gas station. Well, I wouldn't want to necessarily have to pay for gas, but I have to pay for gas to get myself one place to another. The way you bill it is through a VSAT terminal. GPS is another one. Position, navigation, and timing. There are issues with security as far as GPS. We need to figure out how to create redundant systems. So anyway, we are trying to create some systems, some benefits in this IoT space that will solve some of the problems that we're having today. And I hope that we can work with several of you to get there. So we're going to be a LEO satellite company as well. We are looking to solve the problems on Earth. How do we work with digital agriculture, health issues, monitoring scenarios, getting from point A to point B without loss of connection? You have these fiber networks, fiber rings, you have cellular connectivity. How do we make sure that globally we have a situation where we have affordable technology that can connect everybody and everything? We know, you just talked about it for the last few days, I think. Things are expensive. Connectivity is expensive. We're trying to make sure we get that to a place where it's not, where it's affordable, accessible, secure. There was discussion about that earlier, the cybersecurity, and sustainable. Sustainable from an economic standpoint, sustainable from a environmental standpoint, and sustainable from a resiliency in space standpoint, because obviously we want to make sure that these things continue to exist. So what is eSpace doing? We're trying to make this affordable, right? Get these manufacturing costs down, fewer components, quicker processes, fewer launches. All that will resonate in the ultimate bill that a consumer gets. It'll bring costs down dramatically and make for a rapid deployment. We want to make sure that we are incredibly secure. We have lots of ways that we're working in a peer-to-peer environment, making sure that we don't necessarily have, for example, government situations which are more sensitive. The communications are more sensitive, so we're working on solutions there. And again, trying to be much more sustainable in space by design, and ultimately hoping to clean space with our technology. We are going to have this smart IoT infrastructure. Again, a little bit amorphous. It's hard to contextualize in our heads, but it's in the background. It's everything that is happening in things that are digital on the ground. We want to connect you guys. It's not only the cities, right? If you have, I think I was talking to a minister I think it was in Rwanda, about a diabetic situation, right? A huge diabetes problem. Well, we want to create a situation where somebody has a very low-cost monitor where they can connect and they don't have to be in a city in order to understand that they need to get help, right? We are trying to solve these problems. We're making sure that the service and the devices become very, very cost-effective. Again, LEO service, global coverage, secure, sustainable, low cost. How are we doing this? As far as the satellite goes, some of my colleagues were talking about the sustainability piece. Why is this important? I had another conversation last night with somebody who said, well, I might want to have my own system. Might want to have a broadband system. I'm not sure about some of these other solutions. It's not necessarily affordable. Well, guess what? If we don't make all this sustainability a priority, you aren't going to be able to have your own services in space. I believe every country should have the accessibility to access space, or the affordability and the ability to physically access space. So we need to make sure that we maintain these environments, and we're working hard to do this, and we'd like to work with you as well to do the same. So we're transforming these digital cities and rural areas, trying to make sure that we have a full IoT push in developing countries and all countries around the world. We don't want to create a second digital gap. Let's get ahead of it, make sure that we are all sort of rising up together. That is crucial, because I can see it coming and I don't want it to happen. Our devices use anywhere. It's global. It's going to get you from point A to point B, no matter where you are. It's important for logistics. It's important for transportation. It's important for health. It's important for public safety, government systems, et cetera. So all these markets, I'm going to wrap up because I know we're having a little bit of crunch on time, but we service, again, global market, government systems, health, safety, other space services, and we're building this global ecosystem. We hope to work with countries around the world to make sure that we actually are partners. We're not, allergic to partnerships. We certainly want to work with the internet service providers in country, or network service providers, and we want to work with folks on applications that would ride on our system as well. You guys know best. We're not the experts in every field. You know your country's best. We should work with you to develop these applications to ride on our system. I appreciate the time. I look forward to talking to you guys a little bit more about this, and thank you all for having me.